こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の動画は、マンチェスターユナイテッドファンでおなじみのアリスのサブチャンネルであるエシラフットボールチャンネルから、試合直後のマッチリアクション動画です。遠藤航だけでなく、大幅なローテーションをした上で、危なげなく勝利をし、多くの若手も出場した試合に、ただただ感服しています。遠藤に関しても、さすがのプロフェッショナルと言わんばかりに、キャプテンのパフォーマンスだったと賛辞を送っています。実際にどのように話しているのか、動画をチェックしてみましょう。
This Liverpool team just will not lose. 20 games unbeaten, no Salah, no Alisson, no Van Dijk, resting so many of the key players. Gravenberch has been one of the best performers this season. Obviously, Kanate is injured, and they still get the result they want. They still win the game. 20 games straight unbeaten for Slots since Nottingham Forest, which is the best they've done since March 1996. And as a Man United fan, it is infuriating. And you see Liverpool today, they're not going with their strongest lineup. Of course, it's Southampton, they're not the best side in the world. They've got Trey Ione, Harvey Elliott, Tyler Morton, Kwanzaa, Nallo, Norris, McConnell, Dans, and Rio that they signed from Chelsea, all in the starting 11 or bench today. A very youthful squad. Slot was not afraid to rotate. Endo at centre-back with Kwanzaa, Trey Ione and Morton starting, Harvey Elliott getting his first start, I believe, of the season as well. He was brave, Slot, because I saw that starting 11 and I thought, oh, Endo's not in midfield. That's a midfield that's not played together. Kwanzaa's been a bit shaky this season. Maybe Southampton with the manager being sacked and everything could do something. You never know. And I think Southampton made it difficult for Liverpool in the second half. I think Keller had to make a few good saves. But what basically, in my opinion, happened was Arne Slot is probably thinking, we're top of the Champions League, we're top of the Premier League, that is the priorities. He's saying, this Carabao Cup will be a good opportunity to rotate, see a few other players, get minutes in the legs. If we go out, he'll probably be saying, not the end of the world. Obviously wanted to win each game, but he's probably not that fussed about it. He probably said, just no injuries, put in a comfortable performance, get the win. And that's what Liverpool did. They went 2-0 up. I think they took the foot off gas a little bit in the second half, thought it was going to be maybe a bit easier, and got the win. So I don't think it was this amazing football we've seen Liverpool play this season, but I think it was like, he rotates the lineup, they still win, they still do the job. And there were so many tactical adaptations with Endo being a centre-back, but then kind of coming into midfield at times and stuff. And it was like really clever because every single game under Arne Slot, he's almost changed tactics depending on the starting 11 or the opposition. And the players are able to apply that. And he'll rotate the 11, he'll drop key players. He's had injuries to Kanate, Trent, Alisson this season already, who are big players. He's adapted. Joe Gomez, Conor Bradley have come through, stepped up. Keller has stepped up. Changed this, changed that. Players like Endo that have not had many minutes in the legs have played out of position and stepped up. Tyler Morton, I thought, did quite well at right back, stepped up. Trey Ione comes in, shows his intelligence. That's when you know Slot is a good manager. 20 games unbeaten, can completely rest and rotate the lineup, give youth a chance, and he can still go and win. And you might say, yeah, it's only Southampton, and there'll probably be Liverpool fans that are negative that they didn't win the game 5-6-0. But when I saw that starting a lineup, I thought that was going to be a close game. It wasn't going to be a 5-6-0. You put your strongest lineup out, you probably do beat Southampton 5-0. But it was very much about, different lineup getting rotation in the legs, and Slot still managed it to get the win. And you have the semi-final now. You could go win the Carabao Cup, you're top of the Premier League, you're top of the Champions League. Like, this is hell as a Man United fan because you just don't lose. No Alisson, no Van Dijk, no Gravenberch, no Jones, no Szoboszlai, no Diaz, no Salah. Rested. Tsimikas, Elliott, Jota, Chiesa, Dans getting minutes. Morton, Ione also getting minutes. Obviously you're not going to beat your best when there's that many changes. When you've got no Van Dijk, Gravenberch, Salah, Szoboszlai, Diaz, there's obviously not going to be at the best. Chiesa's getting his first minutes of the season. Elliott's getting his first start of the season. Jota's just come back from injury. Tsimikas, I believe, has been injured. Dans is young. And they still win. And what I noticed is every single game that Liverpool play, Arne Slot doesn't do the same thing. He's so unpredictable. Maybe that's what makes Liverpool so good this season, is Arne Slot will adapt his tactics depending on the 11 players that are on the pitch to get the best out of them, to adapt certain roles for certain players, like he's done with Gravenberch in the 6, and he knows how good technically Gravenberch is, and he's made the 6 role work for him. It's incredible and how we can change the game. And we've seen many times this season, Ipswich, Villa, Brighton, where he'll change the game at half time, and Liverpool come out in the second half a lot better than they did in the first half of that game and get that win over the line. And that's why he's 20 games unbeaten, and that's why he's doing a top job. And to win with the heavy rotation, yeah, you know, Liverpool fans will be negative that they didn't batter Southampton 5-0, but you're top of the Champions League, you're top of the Premier League. Do you know what I do as a Man United fan to be top of the Premier League and be in the Champions League right now? You know, and I thought Endo, Elliott and Moorton were my 3 standout players. I think Trey Ione also did really well from the game. I thought Liverpool were dominant. But I think when they went 2-0 off, they eased off a bit. I think the second half, Keller had to make important saves. I thought Endo was fantastic at centre-back. I think Kwanzaa looked shaky again. I think Kwanzaa needs a loan. Now, there was a point where Kwanzaa was called up to the Euro squad. He looked really good. Arne Slot was playing on pre-season. It looked like he was going to have a good season. He got subbed in the Ipswich game at half-time. Konate came on, and it's just sort of gone downhill for Kwanzaa. Now, I don't think Kwanzaa's a bad player because I saw him last season. There was a reason he even got the call up for England. But I think when you're that young and you're knocked with confidence, everything's going to go bad for him, and I think that's what it is. I think he needs a loan. I think he needs a loan and a regular run of minutes to get back to his best. I think that's what he needs because the limited minutes, he can't do what Conor Bradley does or Endo does when they don't get minutes for a while, but they can step in and perform. He looks shaky, doesn't he? And I don't think there's a bad player in Kwanzaa. I actually rate him, but I think he needs a loan, and I think Liverpool need to bring in a lot. They lost Matip, let Kwanzaa go out on loan, but bring in a centre back because Konate is injury prone. Gomez and Van Dijk's fine, but bring in a left centre-back. That's what Liverpool need to bring in. They need a left-back because Robertson is probably the liability in their best starting 11, if we're going to be honest. Kirkes, Robinson, Aït-Nouri could be options there. They probably need a left centre-back, and then they probably need a Darwin Núñez replacement, and then you probably want another midfielder that can play DM, because I think Endo will go because he's not getting regular minutes to compete with Gravenberch and also allow Gravenberch to play 8. You get those 4 signings, Liverpool... unstoppable. Chiesa started slow, rusty, didn't get a lot of the ball. Then, you know, you go on Twitter and everyone's being negative about Chiesa. It's crazy. I was like, because obviously I'll just sit on Twitter when I'm watching the game and obviously watching multiple games at once. So, you know, I saw bits of the Newcastle game, bits of this game, bits of the Arsenal game. I'm thinking Chiesa's not played in months. He's been injured, and within 10 minutes I see people online, he's rubbish. I'm like, we live in a world where people would just react in the moment. Like, it happens with Man United. Like, one of our, like, Bruno Fernandes will drop, you know, 10 games in a row where he's been unbelievable, and then they'll have 2 bad games, and then Man United fans will be like, sell Bruno, and I'm like, Bruno's better than 99% of our squad. We've got a lot of players that need to be sold. Maybe Bruno in the future for age and compatibility with the system. And it was like, Chiesa hadn't been given a chance, but I actually thought as he grew into the game, he got better. Little touch, little control, little nutmeg. I think there's elements of Chiesa where he's growing into the game. There's definitely a player there. Obviously, I watched him in Serie A. He's going to need time to adapt to the league and everything, and he needs a run of games, and maybe he'll get that. But yeah, Endo, I think, could probably leave for game time, and maybe Gomez would. But Endo and Gomez are top professionals. Liverpool are very lucky to have them because they're called upon. You know, centre-back, DM for Endo does a job. Gomez, left-back, right-back, centre-back does a job. Probably players that are good enough to get more minutes than they get, and they don't complain and they don't cause problems. I want to talk about Trey Ione now. I then want to talk about Moorton, and then want to talk about Harvey Elliott, and also want to talk about Endo because I've been waffling for a while. But I thought Trey Ione was good, as Ben said here. He made the joint most recoveries 4. He also made 7 passes into the final third, which was the third most for Liverpool, and completed 93% of his passes. You can see why he's so highly rated. What I picked out from Ione, not just today, but watching him in pre-season, is he's very technically gifted, but he's a high IQ footballer. For his age, his composure, his ability to make decisions, his comfortability, his IQ, his awareness positionally to receive the ball, pick up the ball, scan and pass is top. But you look at him, he's long-legged, he's an athletic runner that covers ground well, but he can carry the ball aggressively as that number 8. Reminds me a bit of when I watched Gravenberch at Ajax. He's got technical skills, he's got intelligence, he's got the frame, he probably just needs to get a bit physically stronger. And I actually think that it was a faultless performance, and I think he fits into the team really well. If you look at what Gravenberch has and a little bit of Thiago, I think that Trey Ione has that. And I think long-term, you can see why Slot values him. He's so young now. I think it would be crazy to think that you can rely on him this season. I think he could come in and play minutes here and there. But I think if you're thinking 3 years down the line, under Arne Slot, what Trey Ione possesses is technical strength, so his technical attributes, his everything. There's a player there. Athletic, long-legged runner, but his decision-making is top. And I thought with Toro Endo is, in terms of another player, is intelligence. You know, he might not be the technically best player on the ball. He might not be like Gravenberch that could receive the ball at any angle, back to goal, tight space, and break the lines with ease. But Endo's a very good off-the-ball player, a very good intelligent player, and a very good leader. Today he had 100 touches, 8 out of 8 ground duels won, 4 out of 4 tackles won, 4 recoveries, 4 fouls won, 2 interceptions. Just looking at those stats for Endo, that's absolutely insane stats. But he was sort of centre-back, but sometimes in possession was a centre-mid. And he was just adapting really well. And if you look at his mentality, you know, he was called upon in a game in a centre-back role, wasn't even thrown on in DM. And he showed athleticism, he showed leadership, he showed tactical awareness, he was positionally aware. It was some weird tactics by Slot that sort of worked. And he was versatile. And I think with Endo, you've got a player that is, he came in under Klopp, he was key when he went on a really good run under Klopp. He's versatile, he can adapt to roles, and he's always dependable and Liverpool call on him. He's not Slot's DM, he doesn't have what Gravenberch has on the ball and build up in what Slot wants. But I feel like maybe when Slot watches that performance and watches also Moorton, Slot might think, maybe in the smaller games I can rest Gravenberch more, because obviously there feels like I feel like at Liverpool, if Gravenberch gets injured, there's a big question about who does that role. But maybe he'll think Moorton, Endo, maybe he'll be more comfortable to give them a chance. But I thought it was a captain performance from Endo. I thought he was fantastic. And I think, yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. And then I thought Moorton did well. I think he's a player, because I thought he was like 20, but I Googled him, he's 22, and that would make sense because he was at Hull and had the season of the Championship. But I think he needs more minutes. I think he's too experienced of a player to be getting that little minutes this season. Because I thought he controlled the midfield in the first half and did well at right back. Crucial tackles, crucial blocks. I think some people say man of the match. I think he'd be there, top 4 players on the pitch. But I thought he was positionally very aware, whether it was sort of right back, whether it was midfield. But it's on the ball. I think physically he's improved probably because of his loan spells. But on the ball, to break lines, to progress the pass, the forward thinking, the scanning, the awareness. He was so composed in set possession, so comfortable in possession, very good in possession. That's what you want. I think he's definitely got the technical skill there. There's definitely a good player there, and I think he'll probably go out back to the Championship or maybe a lower Premier League club on loan or on a permanent if he's not going to get minutes for Liverpool. But I thought he was very, very impressive as well, Tyler Morton. You know, I think Trey Ione, in terms of ceiling, because he's like 5 years younger, probably is Liverpool's best youngster in terms of ceilings and long-term fit for slot ball. But I think Morton was impressive, and McConnell does well when he comes on. Dans could be a player. Liverpool have got some top young talents. And then Harvey Elliott, obviously another one of them, definitely better in the 10 role. Didn't look the best off the right to begin with. Got the goal, that's good for confidence. But he's best as a 10 because what Harvey Elliott's best at doing is finding pockets of space between the lines, receiving the ball, and then playing passes to other players in space. He's very good at, if you've got a low block, Harvey Elliott in the 10 is the kind of player that you want if you're trying to break down a low block. He's good at getting between the lines. He also brings that movement to open up play, draw out players, and play those passes. And I thought when he moved into the 10, he looked very, very good. I think he looked confident with the goal. I think that also helped boost his performance. And I think Elliott, Chiesa and Jota are still to be fully integrated into Slot's system. Slot is top of the Champions League. He's top of the Premier League with a game in hand. You're in a semi-final. And you didn't even spend any money in the summer. So that means you've now got a budget for January. And I still think, because I still watch Arsenal play and think Arsenal are right. I think Chelsea are good. I still think Liverpool are brilliant right now. As much as I hate to say that, you're brilliant right now. But I still look at Liverpool and I think you need to get a left back in January. And to be honest, the rest of it depends on injuries. I think if I look at what you need left back's got to be the one you do in January. I think long-term Nunes replacement will come in the summer. I think if you could get Supermende in January, go for that. Left back and centre mid. And then I think you might want to look at a left centre back like a Luca Bar or Schlotterbeck, because I think Kwanzaa on loan, Matip was never replaced. You never replace Matip and Thiago, so you need a technical midfielder and you need a left centre-back. But I also think Nunes and probably Robertson are the areas that you want to upgrade on. And I just think Liverpool are flying at the moment. It's so annoying. 20 games unbeaten. I see Liverpool fans being negative online. Obviously, it's Twitter, and Twitter's such a small percentage of fans, and Twitter's where the negative people be. But I'm seeing Liverpool fans being negative that Chiesa wasn't good in his first 10 minutes, or that Harvey Elliott wasn't good until we went to the middle. And I'm like, you play Southampton with a weaker lineup, heavy rotation. You still won the game. Despite not being the smoothest game, you still did enough to win. You were still comfortable. You had all these key players rested. You got to see all these youth players play. You're in the Premier League, you're in the Champions League. You're at the top of it. What? I was like, why are people complaining? But look, it is a small percentage of people online. I'm very jealous. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Bye.
次は解説です。相変わらず話すスピードが速いですし、 ぐしゃっと潰すようにかなり音を省略しながら話すのが特徴的ですね。今回はあまり難しいボキャブラリーは多くはありませんでしたが、知っている人はとっくに知っていても、知らない人がいれば、マストで知っておくべきようなボキャブラリーを少し多く解説しています。皆さんにとって簡単すぎるでしょうか、逆に難しすぎるでしょうか。感想やご意見あれば何でもコメントください。それでは本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。As a Man United fan, it is infuriating.
インフュリエティングは腹立たしいや苛立たせるといった意味を持つ形容詞で人の怒りやイライラの感情を強調する際に使われます。耐え難い状況や理不尽な行動、期待外れの出来事を描写するのに便利で、例えば予期せぬ遅延や失礼な態度などに対して用いられることが多いです。感情的な強調が求められる場面で適切であり、物語やスピーチでは聞き手の共感を引き出し、感情を深く伝える効果があります。
As a Man United fan, it is infuriating. As a Man United fan, it is infuriating. But he's probably not that fussed about it.
ファストは気にする、騒ぎ立てる、心配するといった意味を持つ単語で、特にイギリスの日常会話でよく使われます。また、細かいことを気にしすぎるや大げさに反応するといった状況を描写する際にも便利です。使い方次第でポジティブにもネガティブにも響く柔軟な表現です。
But he's probably not that fussed about it. I think they took the foot off gas a little bit in second half.
Take the foot off the gas というフレーズは直訳ではアクセルから足を離すという意味ですが、比喩的にはペースを緩める、力を抜くというニュアンスで使われます。特にスポーツや仕事の場面で集中力が落ちたり、全力で取り組んでいない状況を指します。この表現は最初は勢いがあったのに途中で気を抜いたことを描写する際に適しており、聞き手にその状況を具体的にイメージさせる効果があります。試合やプロジェクトの途中経過を説明する際に、自然でわかりやすい言葉として役立つでしょ
う。I think they took the foot off gas a little bit in second half. Konate came on and it's just sort of gone downhill for Kwanzaa.
ゴーダウンヒルというフレーズは悪化する、下降するという意味を持つ表現で何かが良い状態から悪い状態へ進む過程を描写するのに使われます。スポーツのパフォーマンス、ビジネスの失敗、または人間関係の衰退など、様々な状況で適用可能で、ネガティブな変化を簡潔に伝える便利な表現であり、ストーリーや説明を引き締めるために役立ちます。
Konate came on and it's just sort of gone downhill for Kwanzaa. But bringing a centre back because Konate is injury prone.
プローンという設備時は、難々しやすい。難々の傾向があるといった意味を付加する形容詞を作るのに使われます。主にネガティブな意味で使用され、事故や怪我、エラーなど望ましくない出来事を表現するのに便利で。この設備時を使うことで、対象の特徴や性質を簡潔に伝えることができ、会話や説明文をより具体的で的確なものにすることが可能です。
But bringing a centre back because Konate is injury prone. Because Robertson is probably the liability in their best starting 11.
ライアビリティは主に3つの意味で使われます。法的責任として、誰かが法的に義務を負う状況を表し、ビジネスの文脈では負債を指します。日常会話では比喩的に弱点や足手まといとして使われることもあります。この言葉は文脈に応じてニュアンスが変わるため、使い方を注意しながら的確に意味を伝えることが重要です。
Because Robertson is probably the liability in their best starting 11. Maybe Bruno in the future for age and compatibility with the system.
コンパーティビリティは適合性、互換性、相性といった意味を持ち、物事や人がどれだけ調和して機能するかを示します。例えば、技術分野ではソフトウェアの互換性を指し、人間関係ではカップルの相性を表すことができ、抽象的なアイデアやアプローチの共存可能性を述べる際にも使用されます。問題の有無や適合度を簡潔に表現できるため、説明や議論を効果的に進める上で便利です。
Maybe Bruno in the future for age and compatibility with the system. No, because I've been waffling for a while, but
ワッフルには2つの主要な意味があります。一つ目は、食べ物としてのワッフルで、格子模様の焼き菓子を指します。もう一つは、比喩的な意味で、曖昧な話をする要点のない話という意味です。特に動詞として使われる場合、長々と無駄なことを話すことを表します。例えば、 結論を出さずに政治やアイデアについて曖昧に話し続ける状況を表現する際に便利で、カジュアルな会話や批判的な文脈でよく使われます。
No, because I've been waffling for a while, but he made the joint most recoveries for
ジョイントモストという表現は他と並んで最多のという意味を持ち、記録や統計を説明する際に使われます。この言葉は何かが同率1位であることを簡潔に伝えるのに適しており、統計データやランキングの解説に頻繁に使用されます。
He made the joint most recoveries for, and I actually think that it was a faultless performance.
フォールトレスは欠点がない、機の打ちどころがないという意味を持ち、特定の行動や結果を非常に高く評価する際に使われます。スポーツや芸術、仕事のパフォーマンスを称賛するときに適切な表現で、ポジティブな印象を強く与えるため、優れた成果や人物の特徴を伝える際に非常に効果的です。
And I actually think that it was a faultless performance. He's versatile, he can adapt to roles.
バーサタイルは多彩な、用途の広い、柔軟なという意味を持ち、人や物が多くの状況に適応できる特性を表します。例えば、多彩な俳優や多目的に使える道具、柔軟なリーダーシップなどを称賛する際に使用されます。その対象の能力や適応力を強調するため、ポジティブな評価として非常に効果的です。特にスポーツやビジネスの分野で幅広い役割をこなせる能力をアピールする際に便利です。
He's versatile, he can adapt to roles, and draw out players and play those passes.
ドローアウトというフレーズは、引き出す、伸ばす、誘い出すといった多くの意味を持つ便利な表現で、例えば、隠れている感情やスキルを引き出したり、会話やプロセスを長引かせたりする場面で使われます。また、物を取り出す、あるいは誰かをその場から誘い出すニュアンスでも使用されます。この言葉は、状況や文脈に応じて適切なニュアンスを伝えることができるため、日常会話からビジネスシーンまで幅広く役立ちます。
Draw out players and play those passes that are still to be fully integrated into the system.
インテグレートは、統合する、適応させる、溶け込ませるという意味を持ちます。複数の要素やシステムを一つに組み合わせたり、新しい環境に人や物を順応させる場面でよく使われます。歴史的には人種差別の解消や平等化の文脈で使用されることも多いです。ビジネスや教育、社会的な状況など幅広い分野で使われるため、異なるものを調和させるプロセスを説明するのに適した表現です。
Still to be fully integrated into the system. He's top of the Premier League with a game in hand.
A game in hand というフレーズは、スポーツのリーグ戦で他チームより消化試合が1試合少ない状況を表します。このフレーズは、試合数や順位の説明をする際に便利で、スポーツ解説で頻繁に使われます。
He's top of the Premier League with a game in hand.
いかがでしたか？遠藤航がセンターバックで出場し、中盤に入っていっても、センターバックとしても、危なげないプレーどころか、素晴らしいパフォーマンスだったことは、スタッツを見ても明らかでしたね。ベンチにいるには良すぎる選手との評価もありましたし、それでもスロットのチームではなかなかプレーできないことも事実で、遠藤航も移籍するだろうとも予想しています。今回のパフォーマンスでも、これまでのプレーからも、他のチームが獲得したようなパフォーマンスを続けていますから。実際に中堅以上のチームからのオファーがあれば、移籍もありだろうと個人的には感じています。それでもまた少しはプレー時間が増える期待もありますので、またリバプールの試合を楽しみにしたいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。